Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here. So Dereck Chisora stops David Price in the 4th round. Now going into this fight we expected Chisora to win. He was the big favourite, but with David Price there's always that element of danger with his punching power. But in this fight Dereck Chisora basically set the pace from early on. In the first round he applied some good pressure, pushing David Price back, attempting to work the body, coming over the top with overhand rights and big left hooks. And yeah, you could tell what Dereck was trying to do. He was trying to play on David Price's weaknesses, which is dealing with pressure, inside fighting, and just he struggles with aggressive guys. And Dereck basically tried to exploit that from the first bell. And in the first round, I noticed, well, in my opinion at least, David Price looked very concerned with the pressure Chisora was applying. Basically, Chisora applied the pressure from the first spell, and at times in round one, I was looking at Price, and you could just tell by his body language, his belief went out of the window, And in the first round, David Price didn't really throw too many punches. He tried to catch Chisora coming in with that left hook and right uppercut, but he really wasn't letting go of his punches. Round 2 and round 3 were more of the same. David Price adjusted to the aggression a little bit better. He was landing some good counter shots of his own, and a couple of times he momentarily buzzed Dereck Chisora. I think there was a right uppercut which kind of stiffened the legs of Chisora, and also a nice straight right hand as well that Chisora walked into and he kind of felt. But apart from moments like that, Dereck was always in control. He was the guy who was working in the clinch, working the body, pushing David Price back. He was throwing overhand rights that would go over the shoulder of David Price and connect on his chin. The way Dereck Chisora throws that overhand right worked for him in this fight, because obviously he's a shorter guy and he's bringing that punch from low all the way over and back down, and it would go over David Price's shoulder and onto his chin. David Price kind of tries to lean out of the way of punches using almost a shoulder roll, and that overhand right, was landing all night long because of that. So the overhand right from Chisora was landing all night long, and yeah, the writing was on the wall from basically the first round. Like I said, David Price did have some success in rounds 2 and round 3, but it was few and far in between as far as I was concerned. And round 4 was where the fight ended. You could tell David Price was tiring. He caught some big shots at the end of round 3. He exchanged with Chisora, got hurt, and went back to his corner. And yeah, start of round 4, you could tell the writing was on the wall. Pricey was looking tired. In a clinch, Dereck was doing some good work up close. He landed a couple of really good chopping right hooks, and the shots kind of landed on the side of David Price's head. David Price basically dropped in the clinch. He hit the deck, and it was a knockdown. David Price beats the count, but he does look hurt, and his corner throwing the towel. I was actually surprised they threw in the towel. I thought they would let him go on. I believe there was a minute left in the round. He was certainly hurt, but I felt he could have continued. I guess his corner were aware of his history. David Price has been knocked out badly on several occasions, and I guess they was just looking out for his health and safety. So I can see why his corner stopped the fight, but I certainly felt David Price could have continued, certainly for the rest of the round, But, the corner made the decision to, save their guy, and we can only respect that. And yeah, I think this fight went the way we all expected. We expected Dereck to win. We expected Dereck to win by knockout, and he's done that. So credit to Dereck Chisora for a pretty good performance. Got caught with a couple of shots here and there, got kind of semi-buzzed a couple of times, but pretty much he had it all his own way. So yeah, decent performance by Dereck Chisora. What's next for Chisora? I mean, it's hard to say. I believe David Haye was mentioning Alexander Usyk. If Usyk wants one more fight before his heavyweight title fight, Chisora would be a good fight for him. Chisora, ranked, been around for a long time, experienced, strong. I wouldn't mind seeing Alexander Usyk versus Dereck Chisora. I wouldn't have an issue with it in the slightest, to be honest with you. Another fight I wouldn't mind seeing Dereck in would be him against Jarrell Miller. I think stylistically that fight would be a barn burner. So Dereck now has a couple of options. He's coming off a couple of decent wins, so we'll see where he goes next. The Dereck Chisora train keeps on trucking. As for Big Truck David Price, listen man, I believe that is the 7th time he's been stopped. Maybe it's time for David Price to call it a day. 36 years old. I really don't think there's much for him anymore, to be honest with you. Maybe he could have a couple of lower level fights and then cash out against a young guy like Daniel Dubois. But what's the point? He's just going to get knocked out. And you can't really put a price on your health. So for me, I would like to see David Price retire. But, you know, he's his own man. If he continues to fight, that's on him, you know. But yeah, Dereck Chisora, he stops David Price as we all expected. Share your thoughts below. Peace.